Hi, everyone. We're very blessed to be here today as members of Miracles Saturday and Team Miracles in Sedona. Rachel and I have been so blessed to be ambassadors of A Course in Miracles, ambassadors of love and truth, and we wanted to spend some time talking to you all about what it looks like to be in a physical, monogamous relationship together and have A Course in Miracles as our foundation, what it looked like to go from a special relationship into the holy relationship that the Course is leading us towards, and how we apply the Course in our daily lives and how we study it, as well as how we use it for the things that come up in our lives. And so I think really what a great thing to be talking about first would be our relationship as it began. I mean, I think it's clear that we could say it was very much a special relationship in how we met.
Yeah, we both met in some chaotic and kind of turbulent portions of our own individual lives, and we kind of came together very quickly in almost like a divine meeting of sorts, but still very much entrenched in our problems of the world or behaviors or our coping mechanisms or whatever things we were doing.
And I think that at that point we were very much, although I had been involved with the Course for a while and Rachel had a very small amount of it, we could clearly see that we were identifying way more as physical beings than spiritual beings having a human experience. And in that sense, we came together very much in that vein as physical beings. And we started the process of this relationship always with the Course right there, but not unified in that thought system. And exactly opposite, really, unified in the ego.
Definitely in the ego. That was what we knew. But we did have kind of that inkling of there must be a better way. Like that feeling of this is not all there is. This can't be all there is. Is this all there is?
Yeah.
And just looking for a moment in not necessarily seeking something else, but for me it was definitely a huge portion of a surrender. Like all the things that weren't working, I had just really started the process of letting those go in my life, but I didn't have something that like was refilling the cup. So it just felt like everything was going away and being taken away, and it was like, I don't know why I'm surrendering to everything, but I am. And that's just what that process was. And I was in the middle of that when I met Michael.
Yeah. And I was in the same place where we were being called and we were brought together. Rachel and I had a number of wonderful circumstances that had to occur for us to meet, and then there was a connection instantaneously almost. So we were very much living lives as human beings, not necessarily committed to any spiritual path, but we were really learning separately and together about all the things that weren't working. We weren't truly happy. We were in a place in our lives where we were looking for what we all seem to be looking for, right? Happiness, peace, purpose. And so that's kind of how we met in the beginning. And I had been invited to Sedona to study A Course in Miracles. And so the calling I had already begun to answer. And Rachel's experience with it allowed her the interest to join with me in the pursuit of studying it. And so that's really where we began. We began at a place where we were both, I would say, behaving in a way that was purely in line with the ego, in the sense that we were caught up in behaviors and activities that weren't fulfilling. We knew we weren't happy.
We did know that.
And we also knew that we would not be able to succeed in our relationship if we continued in that way. We had a lot of talks about that.
Yeah, and we also had the desire, we had the spaciousness in that letting go of wanting something else to come in, and not all the same stuff that we had tried for before, success or the house or the family or the things. Like, okay, where's the truth? That was really like we were both open to receiving that truth and what it looked like and giving it a chance to really show itself.
That's a really good point. And so it showed itself for us through A Course in Miracles. And the beauty of A Course in Miracles is that it is a path that is available to everyone. It is free, and it is in giving us, and what we knew even beforehand, because I got the pleasure of witnessing this through my teachers and through the invitations that I got here of other course relationships. And so what we knew kind of initially that this was going to be a foundation for the rest of our relationship. And it was going to be a foundation founded on uniting in a purpose of spiritual growth and spiritual evolution. And there was a lot of excitement about that. I know that we were having a lot of conversations about it before we really began the course. We were discussing our thought systems and what the course may have been saying and what we may have thought. And there was a lot of engagement in the beginning of that foundation. And I think for our relationship, it began, even at that point, to have this new purpose and new meaning that was really exciting. Do you remember that?
Oh, for sure. That was a big part of like how we started. We picked a day. We both ordered our books. We, made a spot that was in our living room that was just right. So we had morning sun, and we set a time of day every morning that we would start. And so day 1 we started, and day 325 we were still in the same couch, spending the same morning together, really focused on the truth there. And that time together when we would discuss, what does this actually mean? The words that are being written down, not like what I've already taught myself that I think what it means. What does it actually mean? So we would do that study together, both with the text and with the workbook, complementary at the same time. And the course is awesome, and it's like, we don't ask you to believe any of this to begin with, just a little willingness. And showing up with a little willingness every single day really set a structure for our lives. Mm-hmm. And then as the lessons go through, you do different meditations or phrases. It's a really thorough mind encapsulation throughout your day. But that morning anchoring really set the foundation for our lives going forward.
Yeah.
It really hasn't changed over many years of doing it. That's still like our number one priority, and that's a huge cornerstone of the holy relationship, I feel like, with us.
I agree, and I think we could talk a little more about the holy relationship, but before we do, I think the importance of being on the exact same page, and a page we agreed on. Mm-hmm. We came together through the non-dualistic metaphysics of the Course with an understanding of who we are and what we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to be doing it. And then it gave this whole new meaning to our relationship, where we still have our jobs and we still live these lives, but we also have this other purpose, a purpose for our lives, a purpose for our relationship. And so, as Rachel mentioned, we committed to this path and to the studying, and along the way, we had small and large experiences of different styles and degrees that we call them course confirmations. Many of you may be familiar with synchronicities. Mm-hmm. We call it course confirmation, where we're getting experiences.
Or course corrections.
And sometimes course corrections. Yeah. Where we're getting into the course confirmations, experiences that are confirming the teachings are true, and we can share those together. The excitement builds, and we understand.
Wow, look at that! Wow.
This is actually happening.
Yeah.
And the course corrections we had as well, where things we didn't necessarily follow the teachings.
And we recognized we were thinking outside of the course in our old mindset, and look at that. Yeah. Oh wow. More of the same.
Yeah. And so it brought us closer and closer together just by the nature of being committed to the same goal. But more importantly, I think you probably agree, is we started to build this love, this true love together. Our connection was very much, as I said, instantaneous in a way, but we're still at a point where I think we'd agree we didn't truly, totally love ourselves, because we hadn't released behaviors that were unfulfilling or hurting ourselves through using drugs and alcohol, through not necessarily being honest about our ability to release the things from the past. And so this process, again, started this seed of love. The seed of love that's really within us all and that we're all yearning for. But where it needed to start was being taught through the Course about what we truly are and why we could truly love ourselves. And I think we were really much in the exact same place with that.
I think that commitment that you were talking about was also where it started, where we both had the same level of commitment, so neither of us was pulling the other into, we need to get up this morning and do the course, and the other one was reluctantly going along. We were both in different places of learning consistently. We would help each other, and we weren't always at the same exact place in our learning cycle, but we were both the same level of commitment. So
Yes.
when one was struggling or one was unsure, the other was there to provide that support and be there as a partner.
That's
through
an
that.
important, a really important thing to note, is that this isn't about dragging someone along with you. The idea is this is a path of happiness and peace. This is a path of joy. And the reason Rachel and I are able to sit down in front of the camera and talk about it is because we know it works. And we love the fact, and I say it all the time, that the Course is very clear. It says this isn't the only way, but this is a way that works. And one of the ways it works, sticking with the idea of love, is that this is the relationship that we have always wanted. That where we are today, sitting in front of you, is truly, fully, totally in love with each other. And how does that feel?
Perfect. And it doesn't mean we've reached the end. Okay, we're in love, we're great, it's love, it's good, we're done.
Yeah.
We still are evolving in that with each other as our spiritual beings, but while holding hands in the love of God and looking towards God together. And so when I'm in doing my life and my things, and Michael is my partner, and I feel triggered by something, or suddenly I forget who I really am, and I'm upset about something that's going on, this relationship is that bubble of love that allows me to be in that moment, to reset myself, to bring that thing up, remember who I really am, release the thoughts that are hurting me. I feel hurt in those, but the thing is hurting me, but I feel hurt. And release those thoughts and be in love. And before, in the special relationship, I would have needed Michael to behave differently. I would have needed something to change externally, where I would have felt like something had come up, and I would have needed him to be something for me so that I could be okay. And all he needs to be is the holy, perfect partner that he is. And I can see that love in him and go through the remembrance of who I really am in that.
Yeah, you
And
touched
then
on an important part there. The special relationship is the relationship that we have when we identify ourselves as physical beings with needs that need to be met by others. And so we use these special relationships to fulfill ourselves in the sense of, I need to be married so that I can survive because I need a dual income, or I need you to love me, and I need you, this is how I need you to love me because I need love, or I can't be happy unless I have someone by my side, or I can't be happy unless I dump all my stuff on someone else. But fundamentally what we're doing is we're all having these special relationships where we are just misidentifying with ourselves, and then when we do that, we create needs that aren't truly real, and we constantly are filling these relationships with needs that aren't realistic, nor are they even the things that will fulfill us. So you may be able to relate to that. I want to have a beautiful partner. Well, I have the beautiful partner. Well, all these other things are still there.
What about that? And it's almost always transactional.
Yes.
You give me this, so I give you that.
Yep.
I get this, so I will give you that. And then pretty soon the list is huge of all the things that I need to be getting and giving, and then we start becoming dissatisfied. And there's always more. There's always more that's waiting behind the next door of what you need to do to make me happy and what I need to do to make you happy.
And so instead of that, what we do is we learn from a master like Jesus the truth about ourselves. And then we truly can relax. We can take a deep breath. We can love ourselves. We can release all of these needs and wants and recognize that there is a system at play that Jesus describes to us as our egoic thought system that has just been feeding us all of these stories and needs and wants that aren't actually at all in line with what will fulfill us and make us happy. And so in that part, when we both were on the same page, we were honest, we were open, and we communicated, and that's what this takes. It takes honesty and communication. And we both were in agreement about this isn't working, nor do we see that this could ever work. And so thankfully in that space is where the Course comes in and says, okay, well, here's another way to try. And if you try it, and if you do it, you'll see that it works. So it starts, as Rachel said, with the belief system, but then we start to get these experiences. And so knowing that we've had these experiences has allowed us to continue to go forward. And taking a step back, you mentioned a little bit about the untrue thoughts and how we've supported each other in that. And I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to talk about how we've communicated and we've used the understanding that we each have our own egos to support each other, but to do so in a place that we know we're not being attacked by each other.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk a little about that?
Specifically, like verbiage?
No, about how we kind of communicated with each other over the years about creating that understanding that when we're supporting each other in releasing thoughts, we're not judging or attacking.
Mm-hmm. And knowing that, I think it's really important for people in that holy relationship to know that the other person is always doing the best they can. And even if it doesn't look like it, that's that they're, and when you're coming from that place, but also that they are, that if I am, for instance, saying something to you, and that I'm coming truly from a place of love, and maybe there's an ego moment going on, and it feels like I don't like what you're saying to me. Like we have established together as a couple that what I'm saying to you is coming from a place of love. If I am telling you this is from my heart, and being able to accept that and listen and recognize, okay, is this something that I'm feeling or doing or projecting? Is this something that's coming from an ego place? And then that really helps us to work through being a supportive partner to the other person without saying, your ego is doing this right now. Your ego is doing that right now. You know, like it looks like to me you might not be at peace right now. Can you expand a little bit about like what's going on? And is there anything I can do to support you in that? And not becoming egoically involved ourselves when that happens, because that's the biggest trigger is someone else's flare becomes our own flare, and then now we're responding, and there's a big ego cycle, and then now there's a fight. And the fight is unproductive. The communication is productive.
Yeah.
But when there is discord, because it's not perfect harmony all the time, that's the chance for growth, and that's the chance for us to realize, oh, there's still an unhealed portion of me right there. And a big part of, I think, that we do as well is that I'm looking at a holy child of God right now. I'm not looking at something that Michael said to me 3 years ago, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm waiting for that to come back around again. I'm looking at who and what is sitting in front of me right now, and that's who I'm always dealing with. And so instead of carrying those past moments and putting them into a future place, I am only here with the holy child of God, with my partner, whom I love completely, unconditionally, and that is who am I responding to.
Yeah.
And even if something were said and I could feel something that was discordant inside, that's a chance for me, okay, there's an unhealed portion of me. That's a chance for me to breathe. That's a chance for me to love. And by having this safety bubble of love, I know that he is going to be my partner. I know I don't have to prove anything or do anything or be anything to be okay. Like my safety is not part of being okay in this relationship. I'm okay, and so I can be okay and open and love you completely.
Yeah, and it's the support and the healing that comes from that support. Because the holy relationship, what we're doing is now, instead of coming together to survive, or coming together to have financial stability, or coming together to fulfill our physical needs, we're coming together to support each other in our spiritual evolution and our healing. We're using forgiveness in A Course in Miracles to get to a place that we realize no forgiveness is necessary. We're supporting each other in our healing to get to a place where we recognize that nothing needs to be healed. But having this foundation to support and trust, to allow the healing to come up and be processed, is a part of this foundation of communication, of support and trust and love. And so it only becomes better and better and better, and the communication becomes more consistently deeper and truer. And the trust is there. How would you explain how our trust has evolved with the beginning of how we met and to how we are now using the Course?
I would say that when I didn't trust that everything was okay inside of me, then I was observing very untrustful things that were going on around me in all of my relationships, and I was very concerned about how that would affect me. And so now I find myself very trusting with what's going on inside of me, with the Holy Spirit and my ability to be present with love. And I am not consistently checking all of my relationships that are going on around me for trust levels, including you. And amazingly, all the reflections of trust are beautiful that are coming back to me. I trust you so. It feels so amazing to know that you are behaving authentically, and I just trust that. But that's also a reflection of the trust that's going on inside of me. It's the happy dream. It's my world is changing externally as my internal world is stabilized and changed. So the trust is trust in God and me first, and then trust in the relationship and you as a result of that.
Yep, and I feel the same way in that I don't even think about it.
Same.
And that's the beautiful thing, where we have come to a place with the growing within the course and using the thought system and practicing the forgiveness and loving ourselves and choosing love over fear, that we just get into a vibration where those thoughts are the exception and not the norm. Before A Course in Miracles, the exception was moments of peace and joy and happiness.
Indeed.
The consistency is what's wrong. What's wrong with
who
yesterday?
Did that? Or
who did that?
What did they mean when they said that to me?
Or what's going to happen tomorrow with this or that? It's this whole other vibration of fear, anxiety, and worry. And as Rachel and I have gone through the course and completed the course, we spent some time then just living our lives with the course's thought system and its foundation as our foundation.
I was meaning to mention that when you said not having a partnership that is about maybe supporting each other financially or having this physical relationship. And so it doesn't actually mean giving up any of those things. Those things actually are better. So those things come about as the foundation of truth and love. Then the abundance is there, and then the attraction is there, and then the comfort is there, and the support is there, and all the things that we were trying to get transactionally is just abundant.
Yeah,
and
that's a
so
really
we're
good
not
point.
really giving up anything.
No, it's a great point. One of the beautiful things about this path, and I'm glad you said that, is that we're not being asked to sacrifice anything. And indeed, one of the major ideas that Jesus is teaching us is that the whole idea of sacrifice is totally incompatible with unconditional love, and that our Creator is a divine being of unconditional love who has never and will never ask us to sacrifice anything. So we're not giving anything up by joining together and walking this path. As Rachel said, all the normal things of life on planet Earth have become more enjoyable, have become more fulfilling. And so that's an important concept, that there's nothing that's being asked of us that isn't in line with our happiness. And in line with our happiness and in line with that shifting of our experience from the exception is peace and happiness to the norm is peace and happiness, I think if we were honest, and we haven't really talked about it because it doesn't really happen, but over the last 5 or 6 years, I mean, how many fights have we gotten in our arguments? Just, I couldn't even count them on my two hands. The idea is not because we're perfect now. It's because our vibration and the thought system that we're using, which has brought us to that vibration, doesn't allow for these opportunities for something. Maybe she wants to do something and I don't. That doesn't become a fight. Maybe she wants to go somewhere and I don't want to go. That's not going to cause jealousy. Maybe that she has an idea of how we should spend some money and I have a different idea. None of those things create discord because we have this foundation of communication. I think the last I do think the last argument we had was over what type of pants you were wearing. And that was just something ridiculous. We
had let ourselves get into a moment of ego and hurry and what are they going to think and all this stuff, and we laughed about it later. And we were like, okay.
So we did actually
a moment of ego, and then bam, poof, and then okay.
and that was the point where the ego is still there, right? It's always waiting. And those of you who are interested, we are going to have available on the website where you're watching this a lot of other wonderful content about A Course in Miracles, about the ego and the thought system. But basically, we can just summarize quickly. The ego is the thoughts inside of us that are producing fear and guilt and anxiety and worry and stress. And so in that example, we were stressed about being on time. We were doing a new endeavor, which was also part of our
Meeting
wonderful,
people we didn't know,
yeah,
creating yeah,
which is part
a
of actually the
brand of
abundance
things,
of
yeah,
us being, and in that one moment, there was a miscommunication, and then the ego, we allowed the ego, and specifically me, to like use that to create an argument. And it was over pants. And not long after that, we apologized and laughed. But the point is, the course isn't going to say you're never going to fight, but we almost never fight.
But that part of that renewal in that moment is not like I'm remembering that. Like when you were even saying that, I was like, when was that the last time that we? Yeah. So I'm not dealing with the person that I knew 3 days ago. I'm always dealing with the person that's right here.
Yes.
And with the holy being that's behind the person, that seeing your divinity in you is seeing it in myself.
Yeah. And this relationship, the holy relationship within, as you said, a couple, a monogamous couple living together, isn't the only holy relationship the Course offers. Indeed, what we're doing is we're transforming all of our relationships into holy relationships. We're giving over the Holy Spirit our power within all of the relationships. So instead of using the egoic thought system, the thought system of fear and separation and guilt, of needs and lack, we're using the Holy Spirit's thought system of love and abundance and unity to transform all relationships.
And we don't need the other person to do that too. That.
It's important that it's true. It's the way we are.
Yes.
That matters. But this
is a great practice point of the bouncing back and forth so that we can be that holy relationship partner with our mother and our sister and the cashier at the grocery store and our best friend, and how we show up in that relationship regardless of how the reflection looks.
Yes. And we've seen that individually with the relationships that we've had. Some of our relationships have fallen away. Some of our relationships have blossomed. So new relationships have come at work and in our lives and our family.
And that reflection always changes. It always shifts. In the right-minded perspective, and the change from that transactional relationship to a true loving foundation, it shifts in every way, whether it is released or whether it comes closer or there's an understanding.
Yeah, and so that is another part of the path of A Course in Miracles, is that we are transforming all of relationships to these wonderful, fulfilling, uniting, dynamic relationships based on love, based on truth. And in that sense, our individual relationship becomes kind of a beacon for that for others, where Rachel and I have gotten so blessedly to a point where I look back and see I was trying to get with all my other long-term relationships. I was always trying to get to this place of loving someone, but I didn't truly love myself fully. And now that I do that, I can love Rachel fully. I can love my friends fully. I can love my boss fully. I can love everyone fully, because I started with using the Course to love myself fully. And Rachel supporting me in that and me supporting her in that just allowed this entire new life to unfold for us. And one of the things we like to talk about within Team Miracles, with Miracle Saturdays, is that we're on a mission from God. Our life has become this most exciting adventure. Instead of slogging through life, paying the bills, waiting to take a vacation, hoping to make it big, get the bigger house, etc., which there's nothing wrong with, we're prioritizing something totally radically new and different. We're prioritizing this calling from God to play a role in the healing of our lives and the lives of the planet.
And that looks different for everybody. How are you fulfilling your mission? So our specific flavor right now is a morning group where we're guiding students through their first time through the Course in Miracles, and really being part of that is very rewarding. But maybe in the future that looks different, what that actually is. But the rest of our day we spend remembering who we really are as we go to work, and we put gas in our car, and we walk the dog and clean the floor and go to the gym and play pickleball and whatever other things there are. And each person that we are in relationship within that day is affected by how we start that day in love, and affected by our thought system, and affected by our true love of ourselves, remembering them and their true love of themselves.
That
for
true
them,
love.
even if they don't remember.
Oh,
We
I'm sorry to
remember.
cut you off. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, I think one of the greatest things about that is that that love is what we focused on, and that love that has unfolded a plan for us that neither of us had talked about. As we
No.
studied the course, as we committed together, we didn't set out this goal of becoming teachers and teaching students, or getting involved with Jan O'Kelly and Team Miracles and Miracles Saturday, and being in front of a camera. This entire plan and path is unfolded, which makes it so exciting.
We're just saying yes. We're just saying yes. Where would you have me be?
Yeah, and where they would have us be.
Where would you have us go? What would you have us say?
Yeah, and it's been so joyful to the idea that we, as Rachel mentioned, could be asked, and we were asked, and this is how that unfolded, asked by some that we met to take them through the Course in Miracles, and then another group asked us to be involved, and so we are just showing up now and playing our role, and it's a role that we don't have any pressure about, right? How does that feel? Like we don't have to figure it out.
No, it feels awesome, because that was a lot of pressure, having to figure it all out, because if you didn't get it right, then that meant you failed and you were a failure. And that was a big responsibility to carry around in every decision you make all day long, every day, versus I'm okay. I am love, I am light, you're love, you're light. Okay, what feels like it's in accord with the Holy Spirit? We still make decisions, we still do things, but nothing is about whether we're divine or not. Nothing is going to make us a sinner or bad or a failure or incomplete or anything that we don't even know we're thinking. It's kind of in the back of our mind. You know, it's like one day I might be late for work, and then my boss gave me a dirty look, and then he gives me a look, and then all of a sudden here I am in this like doomsday scenario of maybe I'm going to lose my house if I lose my job, and we don't realize we're going to be homeless and I'll have nothing, and like that's where it all was. It was always there. And if you can be like, oh, I'm actually okay, then you don't take the train ride down anymore. And now how I interact with my boss changed when I showed up late and was genuinely sorry. I got caught up before I left. I didn't do good with time, or you know, whatever happened is not a reflection of our divinity. And if we're going to be safe, we're always safe, and we're always whole, and we're always loved. And knowing that makes my interaction with each and every person different than it would be if I thought I wasn't safe and I needed them to be okay with me to be safe. You know, that's kind of the core of the people pleasing and a lot of the codependent behaviors that I had grown up knowing and like using as an ego coping mechanism would be making sure I was okay through the reflection of if I was okay with other people and if I was doing enough for them to be happy with me, and whether my personal safety felt enmeshed in all of that. And so then I find myself in dysfunctional relationships that don't meet my needs, and I'm trying to repeat the same things and get a different outcome. I mean, all of the stories that, you know, a lot of times we know we're doing. We keep buying the same self-help book that's different, trying to get out of the cycle. But, you know, I think it's that same saying, we can't keep doing the same things and expecting a different result. And I think that was a big part of what led me to finally saying yes and being completely open. I didn't pick and choose from the course what parts I was going to do and what parts I was going to believe or say. I just asked me for the little willingness, just do this. Okay, I can do that. Yeah. Because if I'm choosing, no, I'm leading again. And I haven't been doing a good job of leading the ship, you know, like I'm clearly not, I was clearly not in the place of happiness and peace and joy, and that's where I wanted to be. And so I wanted to do the thing that was going to be different. And when you said about the peace and about the love, and that's what it looks like here for us on the other side. But to be sure, there was some time of undoing when we first started the course. There was some time of undoing thoughts and feelings and lots of egoic emotions and feeling like almost like you're letting go of yourself and your identity, and like maybe even you could say like I felt like then I wouldn't even matter, or what would be my legacy, or what would be my me? Where's me in this? And that changes, but for a little bit of the undoing, there's kind of a feeling of adriftness that I see common through people who first are working through the lessons. And the best part of that is the course is like, we totally know that this is going on. And This is the undoing that is leading to refilling your cup. And it's not that you are nothing, and it's not that you don't have an identity. This is the identity you've been identifying with, and this is your identity.
Yeah.
So we're undoing that so you can remember this. And and that partnership was so lovely to do it in, because we're both going through it in different ways. So some days you would have a little more and I would be supportive for you, or the other way around. But we're both like right there, and then learning and keep reading the text and be like, oh, that's, like today we're reading about authorship. That's some really heavy conceptual undoing and refilling back up of those spaces.
Yeah.
And so this is what the peace looks like on the other side. And it really is, the Course also says, it will not leave you alone, and not leave you in the place of just believing in faith that this is true. You will be shown, you will be guided. It will be concrete, evidentiary and obvious, and it will be a knowing, it will be a concrete given to you, and it is true. It is absolutely, again and again and again, proven over and over.
The conviction that grows with that is so joyful. Now, we don't need to go out and preach this to the world every day and every person we meet. Yes, we're here representing love and truth to you on this video, but we're doing it in a way that's inspired. And one of the things Rachel said in the middle of that, which was so beautiful, was about what the Course says. I'm paraphrasing. Maybe you should resign as your own teacher. We recognize that, like, maybe it is better that we listen to the words of a master. Maybe we consider that it's possible that Spirit is talking to us and guiding us. Maybe it is a better way to listen to the advice of a master on the planet.
Which is maybe how you found this video, because it wasn't coming out to you and being broadcast and somebody knocking. And it was divine that you found this, just like it was how we found each other and the Course.
Yes, and at that foundation of
Or you're ready, Spirit guiding.
Yeah, when we found ourselves as we were ready, and if you're coming across these words, as I said, you might be ready. You might have had the book already. You might have heard about A Course in Miracles. What Rachel and I are most excited about talking to you all is that this is a path of love. This is a path of joy. This is a path of happiness and peace. And there is work to be done. As Rachel said, in the beginning especially, we have to be open to the fact that we don't know everything there is to learn. We have to be open to maybe admitting we've been wrong about a few things, and that's okay. The greatest thing about this is collectively on the planet, we've all been wrong.
But that's one of the biggest things for the ego to let go and to not is the right wrong. And so, that's kind of part of the undoing of the ego is, would I rather be right or would I rather be happy?
Yeah.
So it's okay. If we weren't correct before, it doesn't mean that we were. It comes back again. Where's that deeper meaning? Oh, now we're down into worthless, or the shame part, or whatever that is. That's that nugget.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to not be right. It doesn't mean any of those things that we thought it meant before.
No, and I think that's part of what we can do here with this, and what we've been doing going forward is representing that. We were perfectly fine to admit that our way wasn't working. We were perfectly fine to admit that we weren't happy, or that we weren't excited about just going forward in a materialistic, capitalistic lifestyle that was focused on consuming and financial security.
And what's the next thing that's going to make me happy again for a few minutes?
Yeah. Well, what's the next thing to be afraid of that might happen to me to keep me away from that? That is not in our thought system. That is not in our realm of experience. And it's not because we just magically wished it away. It's because we've learned of a thought system to apply and to use that's eliminated it from a legitimate concern in our lives.
And what I would say about feelings is we don't only have positive feelings 100% of the time. We still do have feelings arise that are uncomfortable, and they could be described in any way, whether they were, anxiety or fear or things that are non-positive, I guess I would say. Those feelings do still arrive, but we don't believe that those, at least correct me if I'm wrong, we don't believe that those are us anymore, and that those are our guidance system. It is a guidance system of sorts, but it's a guidance to, what am I thinking? What am I thinking right now that's out of accord with who and what I really am? I'm thinking that I'm a fallible human being who can fail and die and be judged. I'm thinking that this is that unhealed portion. It's a guidepost for our mind correction now. And within that holy relationship is the structure of which we use to reset back to love and resolve. And it's not through a spiritual bypassing of, well, it doesn't matter. It's I must be thinking with something other than Holy Spirit.
And that Holy Spirit is that voice inside of us,
the real voice, not the one we're used to hearing.
But not the one we're used to listening to and hearing, the loud, obnoxious one.
The one that's yelling and shouting and stomping.
Yeah, it's a reorganization of what's going on inside of our minds that Jesus is helping us with in A Course in Miracles. He's allowing us to learn the truth of what is going on here, what is going on in our minds, and how what's going on in our minds affects our experiences in our lives, and indeed in experiences throughout the world. And so that foundation, that journey that we're making together, is a mind retraining program. It's a program of retraining our mind to use love, to use true thoughts. And what we've seen as we've done that in these 7 years since we've known each other and committed to the Course is a more and more exciting life, a more abundant love, a more and more satisfying daily experience. And as I said, this adventure that is unfolding that we had never dreamed was possible or was even conceivable that we would seek to go out on. And it's only just beginning.
It's crazy you just said 7 years too. It's like it feels like each day is just new and fun and exciting, and it doesn't feel like a big chunk of time has passed. It just feels like this ongoing flow of fun and love. And wow.
And one of the beautiful things about this in non-egoic ways, people notice. People have met Rachel and I, and they've commented on this and individually and together. When they see us together, they can feel it. And we're not doing this so that occurs. This is who we are. We have united and grown and strengthened and fed and evolved this love that is within all of us. It's within you watching this. It's within everyone on this planet. And we get to play a part in bringing it out.
That's the thing. Everybody it's there for everybody. It's not some a little bit and some a lot. It's the bringing it out. Everybody has it.
Yeah.
It's whether we lift the shades and can see the sun is outside after where's the light, where's the sun? So we're lifting the shades so we can be aware of it.
And being able to have the pleasure of sitting here and talking together and being a part of Team Miracles and representing love, I think we both agree, if one person decides to pick up the Course and gets to have the experience that we have had, to get to go on the adventure that we are now on, to get to have the love just continue to extend within your relationship with your brother, your father, your husband, your boss. There is so much joy for us. And we see it unfolding already around the world, around here in Sedona. And just a side note for all of you who have been hearing about Sedona or reading about Sedona or just for your first time, Sedona is here and it's calling you, and please accept this moment as an invitation to come to visit Sedona. Reach out to us at Team Miracles and visit us here in Sedona and spend some time here. This is a place that rewards seekers and has an element of the vibration that is a part of what A Course in Miracles is all about. It's about elevating yourself to a place of joy, to go on an adventure, to seek truth. And as we sit here now in this beautiful, beautiful place, it is certainly Sedona a part of our journey.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like Sedona does a great amplification of where you're at in that journey. So if there are things for you to release, then those will become apparent to you more quickly. And some of that can be very helpful in the remembering who you really are process as you go through those releasings, or they can be challenging as you realize, I want to keep this. I want to keep this thing that's not serving me. You can realize that as well. And this can be done anywhere.
Yeah. And we highly recommend visiting for sure. But
just to say hi, if nothing else.
Yeah, to come meet us, come meet Jan O'Kelly and the rest of Team Miracles. However, as Rachel said, this can be done anywhere. It's important to note that the Course in Miracles is totally free online. You don't have to pay anything to do A Course in Miracles. and that it is just kind of sum it up. What does the Course in Miracles look like? We'll have other videos and content describing it in more detail, but basically the course is quite literally a course. What does it look like to take the Course in Miracles together in a relationship? It looks like studying the text and completing all 365 lessons. The simple rules are don't do more than one lesson in a day, and study the text along with completing the lessons. There's tons of content to support that online, totally free as well. There is many different ways to go about on an individual or group basis to complete the Course in Miracles, but that fundamentally is what it's about. Jesus is guiding us to become teachers of God. He's guiding us to evolve our consciousness out of a thought system of fear into the thought system of love. And we start this process by studying the text and completing the lessons of the Course. That's what Rachel and I have done. We continue to do, and that we are now beginning to be so blessed as to guide others to do it as well. Most importantly, I think, though, for ourselves, we continue to receive the gifts of the Course. More love and more peace. I think I came home a few months ago. I was driving home, as I often do after work, and I'm just really excited to see Rachel and just feeling really wonderful and great about being on the path and being in the vibration of love. And I just thought, and then I came home and said, it's like, I don't know if I can handle this in a few more years. Like, I'm just going to blow up. It just keeps getting better and better. And at Thanksgiving, we had a wonderful 40-person group of Thanksgiving here at Travis and Wendy of Tea and Miracles house, and there was all different course-minded students. And a gentleman actually got up and said the same thing, which made me remember he was talking about the Course and his journey, and he said, I don't know if I can take this much longer. I might just blast off. And it made me think of you and of that feeling.
And I was driving home on Thanksgiving Day from seeing Sydney, and also changing relationships with your children, and seeing Sydney, and I was just like crying in the car with the beauty. I'm like, it's just every day. It's just more and more beautiful of just love.
Yeah.
And you just see the beautiful things.
It keeps growing and expanding.
And it's just constantly reflected the beauty of the love of peace through the external world coming back as well.
Yeah, this isn't just a video. This is our lives. This is what we're truly experiencing, and why we are so honored to be able to sit in front of you and share with you a little bit about this journey, because we recommend it with all of our hearts. And with that, I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you so. We are looking forward to producing more content and having more conversations, which you might be able to find today on our website. You can contact us directly through the links that our leader is going to have available, and we highly recommend that you just follow whatever inspiration brought you to this video.
And when it's coming from spirit and it's coming from heart, it'll always be for the best. And we wish you the best. And thank you for joining us here today.
And we love you.
Sharing with us. We love you.